just to share with all of you, Sonu, can you put up your hand? This is Sonu. And Pooja, our community youth leaders in Delhi. And we have Nirmal, who is a youth mentor, and he is working with, how many community youth leaders do you mentor right now, Nirmal? How many community youth leaders? आपके कितने सारे community youth leaders हैं जिनके साथ में आप काम कर रहे हैं अभी? 33 community youth leaders whom Nirmal is mentoring. So without much ado, I'll just have a little conversation with my friends here. तो मैं शुरुआत करना चाहूँगी आपसे सोनू, आप मेरे सबसे पास में बैठे हैं. तो सोनू को हमारे दोस्तों के लिए थोड़ा सा बताइए, आप अपने बारे में बताइए और एक हमारे साथ ये शेयर करिएगा कि आप किस तरह की कम्युनिटी में हैं, आप किस तरह की ज़िंदगी व्यतीत कर रहे हैं और जब आप स्पोर्ट्स से जुड़े तो उसका क्या योगदान रहा आपकी ज़िंदगी में.
Good evening everybody. My name is Sonu, as ma'am said, and मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि जब मैं एज ए सिवाइल मैजिक बस में जुड़ा तो मेरे को इतना बताया गया था कि आपको स्पोर्ट्स खेलना है सबके साथ, बच्चों के साथ, कम्युनिटी के साथ. तो मैंने सोचा कि क्यों ना खेला जाए. मैंने ये नहीं सोचा था कि मेरे को इसमें बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिलेगा, बल्कि मैं खेलने के इरादे से आया था. लेकिन जब मैं खेलता रहा, मैंने सेशन एज ए सिवाइल सेशन लेने पड़ते हैं वीक में 1 डे, है ना. तो मैं उस टाइम में पढ़ता था. जब अब मैं जॉब कर रहा हूँ, मैं अभी भी सेशन लेता हूँ और बच्चों के साथ 1 घंटा अपना स्पेंड ज़रूर करता हूँ. क्योंकि जब मैं स्टार्टिंग में बच्चों के साथ खेलता था तो मेरी कम्युनिटी में थोड़े से बच्चे थे मेरे साथ जो भी खेलना चाहते थे, थोड़े से बच्चे. क्योंकि हमारा कम्युनिटी में जो प्लेग्राउंड है वो काफ़ी डर्टी हो रखा है, मतलब उसमें लोग बाग कूड़ा फेंक देते हैं, बारिश का पानी जमा हो जाता है और एक्सेट्रा बहुत सारी थिंग्स है जिसमें हमारे एल्डर्स जो हैं वो उसमें ही जुआ भी खेलते हैं, शराब पी के पड़े रहते हैं सारे. तो बच्चों को खेलने की जगह नहीं मिलती थी. तो हमने एक बार ही हमने क्या किया, कुछ बच्चे इकट्ठे किए, मैं हुआ, मेरे सिवाय दोस्त थे, हम सारे इकट्ठा हुए, हमने अपना प्लेग्राउंड साफ़ किया. उसके बाद हमने खेलने लगे. तो हमारे कुछ बच्चों के दोस्त हैं वो भी जुआ खेलते हैं हमारे एल्डर्स को देख के. उन्होंने क्या किया, हमें देखा कि खेल रहे हैं हम फुटबॉल, वो आए हमारे साथ, वो कह रहे भैया मैं भी खेलूँगा. हमने उन्हें भी जोड़ा, हम सारे आपस में खेलने लगे. तो फिर जो मतलब हमारे उसमें ग्राउंड में जो खेल रहे थे एल्डर हमारे जुआ और दारू पी के पड़े थे, तो हमने उनसे बात करी कि आप हमें खेलने दीजिए, हमें मतलब स्पोर्ट्स के द्वारा हमने उनसे काफ़ी मतलब बात करी, जिससे वो मान भी गए. काफ़ी तो मान गए और काफ़ी नहीं माने. तो हमने पेरेंट्स से भी बात करी, उनके बच्चों के पेरेंट्स से बात करी, अपने यूथ लीडर हमारे हैं जो यूथ मेंटर दीदी हैं भैया, उनसे बात करी, हमने सबको समझाया. और अब हमारा वो पार्क जो है बिल्कुल साफ़ है, क्लीन है. उसके अंदर हम हर मंथ में एक मैच रखते हैं, सारे सिवाइल्स मिलकर. हमारे एक सिवाइल्स के पास 30-40 बच्चे हैं, सारे सिवाइल्स टीम बांटते हैं, 4-5 टीमें बना लेते हैं. उसी में हम सारे के सारे बच्चों को इकट्ठा करके उनको खिलाते हैं, फुटबॉल खिलाते हैं, जिसमें सारे जो भी टीम जीतती है उससे प्राइज़ देते हैं. और ये प्राइज़ का जो पैसा होता है ये सारा हमारा अपना होता है, जितने भी है प्राइज़ होता है सारा हमारा अपना होता है. बच्चों की कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है, उसके अंदर हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है. और प्राइज़ देने के लिए हम जो हमारे स्टेट में हैं या तो दीदी भैया को रखते हैं और हमारे एनजीओ के कोई सर आ जाते हैं और इस जो हमारी सिटी में हैं वो आ जाते हैं, क्या नाम, हमारे नेता. तो हमने कई बार इवेंट किए हैं जिसमें टेंट लगाकर हम मतलब बहुत अच्छा से कर देते हैं. सारा रिफ़्रेशमेंट इसमें हमारी तरफ से होता है और बच्चों से बस 1 रुपया उनसे बस इसलिए लेते हैं कि उन्हीं का कंट्रीब्यूशन होता है, उन्हीं को खिलाते हैं. और बस दैट्स ऑल.
So in a nutshell, what Sonu shared with us was about reclaiming play spaces. And it's about the negotiation that the youth carried out to ensure that it happens, not giving up. And for folks who were there in the morning session, the inaugural session, something that Vijay Amritraj had spoken about, the 5 Ds to success. Some of you who were there, do you remember that? What are the 5 Ds to success? Sorry? Desire, the desire to play, right? What else was there? Determination, not giving up. So there were adults there in the space, and there were adults who were using it for, their joints, their alcohol consumption kind of areas, spaces, etc. So there was a desire to reclaim that space. There was determination. What else was there? What were the other Ds? Discipline. There was a discipline, right? There was a discipline to ensure that there was mobilizing more and more people into this whole circuit, right? And we have here a space which is now has been reclaimed and it is being used to reach out to the community children. I'd like to move on to Pooja. Pooja, थोड़ा सा हमारे साथ में आप शेयर करिएगा अपनी ज़िंदगी के बारे में. आप पहले की ज़िंदगी, थोड़ा सा आपका जो शुरुआत का समय, आप कैसे स्पोर्ट्स से जुड़ी और अब अभी अपने आप को कैसा महसूस करती हैं और क्या चेंज देखती हैं अपने अंदर?
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन. माय नेम इज़ पूजा और मैं 18 साल की हूँ. और पहले मैं अपने से शुरुआत करना चाहती हूँ कि मेरे अंदर मैजिक बस से जुड़ के क्या क्या बदलाव आए. स्टार्टिंग में जब मेरी सिस्टर थी YM यूथ मेंटर, तब वो सेशन लेती थी, तो हम उस सेशन में खेलते थे. तो हमें मतलब पता नहीं था कि ये मतलब क्या है, मैजिक बस क्यों है, किस लिए है. मतलब जिस टाइम वो सेशन लिया करती थी, जिस तरह से वो सेशन हमारी मस्ती में लिया करती थी और मतलब हमें रिव्यू में हमें इतनी अच्छी अच्छी बातें बताया करती थी, तो मतलब हमने उनसे पूछा क्या हम इससे जुड़ सकते हैं. तो उन्होंने जब हमें बताया कि हाँ एज अ सीवाइल आप इससे जुड़ सकते हो और कनेक्ट हो सकते हो, तो हमने सीवाइल की ट्रेनिंग करी और मुझे 3.5 साल हो गए हैं सीवाइल बने हुए. तो मैंने सीवाइल की ट्रेनिंग करी. उसके बाद मेरे में इतने ज़्यादा चेंजेस आ गए. मेरे को पहले स्पोर्ट्स बिल्कुल भी अच्छा नहीं लगता था. मेरे को नॉर्मली मस्ती करना अच्छा लगता था, पर जैसे ही मैं मैजिक बस में आई मुझे फुटबॉल में इंटरेस्ट आने लगा और मैं आज फुटबॉल खेलती हूँ, वो भी बॉयज़ टीम में. उसमें कोई भी गर्ल्स नहीं है मेरे अलावा, ओनली मैं ही हूँ. और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि मैं जब लड़कों के साथ खेलती हूँ और मतलब उनका सामना करती हूँ फुटबॉल में, तो मुझे ये इम्प्रूवमेंट अपने अंदर लगी कि मेरे अंदर सबसे बड़ी इम्प्रूवमेंट ये आई है. और दूसरा मेरी हिचकिचाहट, जो मैं बहुत ज़्यादा डरती थी, अपने से बड़ों से बात करने में बहुत ज़्यादा डरती थी. और मतलब मेरी सिंगिंग में नॉर्मली ठीक हो चुकी है. पहले मुझे सुर वगैरह नहीं आते थे. और इसके बाद जब हम कम्युनिटी में सेशन लिया करते थे तो बहुत सी दिक्कतें आई थी. मेरा गर्ल्स का सेशन हुआ करता था, तो उसमें उनके मम्मी पापा भेजते नहीं थे ज़्यादातर के. कहते थे कि लड़कियां क्या करेंगी सेशन खेल के, आप खिलाते हो. मतलब उन्हें ये नहीं पता था कि हम खेल के द्वारा ही उन्हें इतने अच्छे मतलब लास्ट में रिव्यू देके उन्हें कुछ अच्छी बातें बता के भेजते हैं. तो उन्होंने कहा नहीं, हम अपनी लड़कियों को नहीं भेजेंगे और आप जाइए, और हम नहीं भेज सकते सेशन में, हम काम करने जाते हैं और ये घर का काम करती हैं और आप लड़कों को ले जाओ मेरे. तो मतलब इस तरीके से बहुत सारे वो आए चैलेंजेस. तो मतलब उस टाइम हमने सभी जितने भी पेरेंट्स थे सबको एक दिन इकट्ठा किया और पेरेंट्स मीटिंग करी. उसके बाद हमने सेशन लिया और बाद में रिव्यू लिया. तो उसमें उनके पेरेंट्स इतने खुश हुए, मतलब वो कहने लगे कि मतलब हम सोचते थे कि आप ओनली गेम्स ही कराते हो, पर जब हमें पता चला कि आप हमारे बच्चों को इतना अच्छी अच्छी चीज़ें बताते हो, और लास्ट में मतलब वो इतना खुश हुए, अपने लड़के लड़कियों को दोनों को भेजने लगे. तो फिर बाद में मेरा सेशन लड़के और लड़कियों का दोनों का होने लगा. पर स्टार्टिंग में क्या होने लगा था कि लड़कियां थोड़ा डरती थी कि हम नहीं खेलेंगे लड़कों के साथ. तो मतलब थोड़ी दिक्कतें आई थी कि हम नहीं खेलेंगे लड़कों के साथ, ये मतलब हम नहीं खेल पाते, लड़के तो हमसे ज़्यादा अच्छा खेलते हैं, हम नहीं खेल पाते. तो उस टाइम मैंने मतलब सेशन लिया और सेशन के दौरान उन्हें समझाया कि लड़के लड़कियां, क्या लड़के वो काम नहीं कर सकते जो लड़कियां कर सकती हैं, क्या लड़कियां वो काम नहीं कर सकती जो लड़के कर सकते हैं। तो उस टाइम कुछ लड़कियां मतलब आगे बढ़ी और वो दोनों मतलब इस तरीके से खेलते हैं, वो ये नहीं देखते कि हम लड़की के साथ खेल रहे हैं या फिर लड़कियां ये नहीं समझती कि हम लड़कों के साथ खेल रहे हैं। आज वो मेरी टीम है एज अ टीम जो हर बार जिस भी मैच में जाती है और हर बार जीत के आती है। मेरे को गर्व है इस चीज़ पे कि मैंने थोड़ा बहुत जो भी सिखाया है उससे मतलब बच्चे इतना इम्प्रूवमेंट कर रहे हैं और मैजिक बस के थ्रू उन्हें मतलब आगे जितने भी मैचेज हैं उनमें भेजा जा रहा है। मतलब बच्चों में इम्प्रूवमेंट आई है बहुत ही ज़्यादा अच्छी। और दूसरी चीज़ ये, जो भी पेरेंट्स थे उनके सामने मतलब हमारी रिस्पेक्ट होने लगी है, वो बच्चे भी रिस्पेक्ट करते हैं और मतलब अलग ही एक छवि हमारी उनकी फैमिली मेम्बर पे और मतलब पूरे सावदा में हमारी अलग ही छवि फैल चुकी है। मतलब कुछ पेरेंट्स ऐसे बोलते हैं कि हम अपने बच्चों को आप जैसा बनाना चाहते हैं, तो हम ये कहते हैं कि आप हमारी तरह बनाने की जगह आप अपने बच्चों को अपनी उन्हीं की तरह बनने दो कि वो भी इसी तरीके से बने कि उनकी भी एक पहचान हो। वो मेरे नाम से पहचाने न जाएं, वो अपने नाम से पहचाने जाएं। और वो हमेशा लड़कियां कभी फुटबॉल मैच खेलने जाती हैं, कभी मतलब एक गेम नहीं, वो खो खो में, कबड्डी में, हर चीज़ में आगे रहती हैं। बस यही कहना था।
I don't know whether I can paraphrase it. It's so profound for my friends here who may not be very well versed with Hindi. Pooja's story is very inspiring. It's about change in self, yes, and she's very candidly shared that she was, as a young girl, kind of wandering aimlessly, which is what happens with a lot of youngsters, One is, of course, that there was an aspiration, though, when she would look at, look on the television, see people winning medals and all that. There was an aspiration. But there was never really the confidence that this could be something which could be part of her own life. So one is getting connected to sport provided her a sense of purpose. It provided her the confidence that she can. And because she did, negotiating with her family, wherein she used to be basically, she had to help out at home and she had to do a lot of things, negotiating with them that the focus will be about my games and reaching out to children in the community. Negotiating in the community itself, creating an identity for herself. And when she started contributing as a community youth leader in the community she works in, when she started reaching out to other children, and especially girls, it was really the battle starting off all over again with the parents of the girls. That can girls really go and do something which is meant for boys? Breaking that gender stereotype is what I think is the most powerful story that Pooja brings forth. And establishing herself as a leader in the community, where now the parents look up to her as a role model, along with the children, and they tell the children that you need to be like Pooja, to which Pooja very beautifully responds, let them not be like me, let them be their own selves, because they all have the power within, and let them explore that and let them realize that. Thank you so much, Pooja. आपकी कहानी बहुत ही इंस्पिरेशनल है. Thank you. निर्मल, आपसे मैं चाहूँगी कि आप हमारे साथ शेयर करें थोड़ा अलग पर्सपेक्टिव. आप थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताइए, पर आपका क्योंकि आप युवाओं के साथ में आपके कम्युनिटी यूथ हैं, आप उनको मेंटर करते हैं और वो कम्युनिटी यूथ आगे जाके बच्चों के साथ काम करते हैं. तो वो जो आप युवाओं के साथ जब करते हैं काम, आपने क्या देखा है, क्या बदलाव देखा है जो अपने अंदर आपने देखा, और जो युवाओं के साथ अपने काम करते हैं वो क्या बदलाव देखा?
गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन. मैम, मेरे पास कितना टाइम है बोलने के लिए? यस, ओके। मैं चाहूँगा कि अगर मैं एक एग्जांपल लेता हूँ तो आप उसे मतलब एक सबको मतलब इंग्लिश में कन्वर्ट करके आप उसको ट्रांसलेट क्योंकि करेंगे, इससे जल्दी जो मेरा मैसेज है पास हो जाएगा। ठीक है, मैं अपने बारे में बताना चाहूँगा। जैसा कि मेरा नाम निर्मल प्रसाद है और मैं कम्युनिटी यूथ लीडर हूँ। मेरा ये फर्स्ट जॉब है मैजिक बस में। मेरे को खेलना बहुत अच्छा लगता है और मेरी फैमिली में मैं सबसे बड़ा हूँ, तो मैं जिम्मेदार हूँ और मेरे से सब छोटे भाई हैं, बहन हैं, और मैंने सबको संभाला क्योंकि अगर मैं सही हूँगा तो मेरे भाई सब सही होंगे। और ऐसा है कि मैंने मैजिक बस में आने के बाद, क्योंकि स्पोर्ट्स जो है अट्रैक्टिव होता है, सबके लिए अट्रैक्टिव होता है, मेरे लिए भी अट्रैक्टिव था। और मैजिक बस में आकर ऐसा हुआ कि मैंने अपनी सारी जो आगे की पढ़ाई जो है मैजिक बस में आके की है, क्योंकि एक्चुअली जब मैं रेगुलर स्कूल को जाता था तो मेरे मतलब पेरेंट्स कंप्लीट पेरेंट्स थे, मतलब मदर फादर दोनों थे। लेकिन जब रेगुलर फिनिश होने वाला था, ख़त्म भी नहीं हुआ था, तभी मतलब मेरे पिता जो है एक्सपायर कर गए। तो इस कारण से मतलब रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आ गई और पढ़ाई के ऊपर भी मतलब दिक्कत आने लगी। तो मैंने ऐसा किया कि मतलब मेरा फर्स्ट जॉब है जिससे मतलब इसमें आके मेरे को कुछ टाइम मिल जाता है पढ़ाई के लिए, और मैं अपनी कम्युनिटी के लिए कर रहा हूँ, उनके लोगों के लिए कर रहा हूँ, तो मुझे भी खुशी होती है। तो मैंने अपने यहाँ आकर अपना ग्रेजुएशन कर लिया और इतना टैलेंट सीख लिया मैं कि जो मेरा एम था उसका भी पर्पज़ इसमें पूरा हो रहा है। रीज़न ये है कि मुझे टीचर बनना है और मैजिक बस जो है बच्चों के साथ काम करती है। और इसके अंदर अगर हम एजुकेशन देते हैं बच्चों को, तो अगर हम गेम्स के थ्रू देंगे, आप मज़ेदार बना के देंगे, तो बच्चों को ज़्यादा पसंद आएगा। और इस कारण से मैं एक एग्जांपल शेयर करना चाहूँगा कि मैं जम्मू कश्मीर गया हुआ था अपने प्रैक्टिकल के लिए। तो वहाँ पे मैंने मतलब जो मैजिक बस के मैंने यहाँ से जो एक्टिविटी और जो मतलब जो सीखा था उसका यूज़ मैंने वहाँ किया। तो जो मतलब प्रैक्टिकल का जो टाइमिंग था 1 घंटा था, लेकिन और जिसमें कि हम सब 10 या 15 कैंडिडेट्स थे, तो 1 घंटे में सबको फिनिश करना था। लेकिन वहाँ जो बोर्ड से आए हुए थे और वहाँ की जो प्रिंसिपल थी, उन्हें मेरी जो पढ़ाने का तरीका लगा, इतना इंटरेस्टिंग लगा। उन्होंने उस 1 घंटे को उन्होंने सुबह 9 बजे स्टार्ट किया था, 1 बजे ख़त्म किया। इतना उन्होंने मेरे को इतना टाइम दिया, बोला मेरे को बीच बीच में भी टाइम दे रहे थे। और क्योंकि बहुत से लोग बोल नहीं पा रहे थे, लेकिन मैं इतना फ्रैंक होके बोल रहा था, बिल्कुल बेझिझक बोल रहा था, जैसे आप लोगों के सामने बैठा हूँ तो बिल्कुल कॉन्फिडेंस से बैठा हूँ। तो इस कारण से एक तो एग्जाम्पल है। Request.
Nirmal's example basically is about his own life first. And first and foremost, he says that he's been fairly, focused on, kind of being an epitome of good behavior, because he always had this responsibility of younger siblings and the realization that if he's good, he's going to impact his younger siblings. He got attracted to sport when in the community sports program, the possibility of getting attached to a sports-led program came to him. He found it attractive because the passion of game insights into youth is itself very powerful, but also the opportunity to be able to contribute to community. What he found in the journey is that his own talent got realized, unleashed, and it came to a crescendo when he went for an interview to J&K, because he aspires to be a teacher. That when he went there for an interview, he used all the learnings that he had acquired using sport. And when he went there, he realized he was able to have a fantastic session with children. The teachers, the teacher educators who were there were very, very impressed by the new methodology, by the innovation, and that's something that he's really, really proud of. What's also very, very commendable is that while he's doing a lot, because he also happens to be the person responsible for his family, so he's also continuing his education. And that's something, that's an endeavor he doesn't want to give up. So that's also something which has been sparked off through his engagement with Sport for Development and the lessons it has provided him.
मैंने मतलब कम्युनिटी में यूथ के साथ काम किया, तो उसमें मुझे लगता है कि मैंने महसूस किया और मैंने देखा भी। मैं पिछले 3.5 साल से मैजिक बस में हूँ और मैंने देखा कि ये खेल है, जो स्पोर्ट्स है, वो क्राइम को रोक सकता है, प्रिवेंट कर सकता है। क्योंकि मैंने रियल देखा है, बिल्कुल लाइव देखा है, अपने आँखों से देखा है। क्योंकि मेरे यूथ लीडर्स में ना ऐसे हैं जो कि क्राइम करते हैं या एडिक्ट नशा करते हैं, तो उनको मैंने जो मतलब जैसे जो अगर मैं एक ऐसे शेयर करूँगा, एक एग्जांपल राहुल नाम का सीवाइल था जो मतलब क्राइम से रिलेटेड मतलब हमेशा चाकू मतलब छुरी इन सब का मतलब छीना झपटी ये सब काम करता था। और यहाँ तक कि मैं ज़्यादा शेयर नहीं करना चाहूँगा कि क्राइम में बहुत कुछ आता है और उसने ज़्यादातर बहुत कुछ लिमिट तक बहुत कुछ ने गलत किया था। तो वो मुझसे मिला तो मुझे लगा कि मतलब जो एनर्जी वो मतलब नेगेटिव वे में ले जा रहा है उसको अगर ये स्पोर्ट्स में ले जाएगा तो पॉजिटिव वे में वो अपनी जो एनर्जी है उसको अगर यूज़ करेगा तो वो बहुत आगे तक जा सकता है। क्योंकि मैंने उसको पहचाना कि उसके अंदर एनर्जी जो है वो गलत वे में ले जा रहा है, तो जो समाज के लिए भी नुकसानदायक है, उसके परिवार के लिए भी नुकसानदायक है। और उसका परिवार इतना बड़ा था कि उसके परिवार में उसका रीज़न ये था कि परिवार से जो दूरियाँ थी उसको क्राइम में उसको ढकेल दिया। ऐसा कि उसका परिवार इतना बड़ा था, सात भाई बहन है वो, और मम्मी जो है सब्जियां बेचती हैं, पापा जो है फिशरमैन हैं। तो पापा जो हैं वो ड्रिंक करके हमेशा डेली आते थे, मारपीट करते थे। इस कारण से वो परिवार से थोड़ा सा हट सा गया था और इस कारण से क्राइम में आ गया था। लेकिन जब मुझसे अपनापन लगा, मेरे साथ आया और उसे अपनापन लगा तो उसने इतना पढ़ाई लिखाई में उसका ध्यान नहीं लगता है, लेकिन क्या है कि उसने अपना जो एनर्जी थी उसने उस एनर्जी को अच्छे वे में ले गया और वो खुद से मैजिक बस में फुटबॉल में तो मतलब गेम्स में तो यूज़ करता ही था, उसके अलावा उसने खुद से, मैंने कुछ नहीं उसकी हेल्प की, बस उसने मोटिवेट हुआ उसको देखकर मैं मोटिवेट हुआ और उसने खुद ये जो बोटिंग का कंपटीशन होता है जो वो कंपटीशन अभी दिल्ली में था जिसमें उसने गोल्ड मेडल मतलब वन किया और इसके अलावा वो नेशनल भी वो खेलने गया था। और अभी उसकी एज जो है 20 साल है और अगर शायद वो संभलता नहीं तो उसके पीछे कितने लोग बर्बाद हो जाते हैं। उसकी फैमिली के 7 भाई बहन तो होते ही, साथ में उसके माँ बाप और वो खुद भी, और वो समाज के लिए भी एक बहुत बड़ा मतलब एक तरह से डेंजरस हो सकता था। और इस समय वो सिवाइल है और वो जॉब भी करता है। उसने पढ़ाई भी वो पढ़ाई भी छोड़ दिया था, पढ़ाई भी उसने दोबारा से की और 12 उसने मतलब पढ़ाई भी स्टार्ट की है, पढ़ाई भी कर रहा है, जॉब भी कर रहा है और इसके अलावा सिवाइल भी है और अपने एक परिवार का जिम्मेदार है। जबकि माँ बाप जो हैं केवल अभी भी थोड़ा बहुत परिवार में ऐसा हल्का फुल्का चलता है, लेकिन उससे वो है कि उसने अपने परिवार को संभाल लिया है। मैंने अपनी आंखों से देखा है, ये कोई कही हुई सुनी हुई बात नहीं, क्योंकि उसके परिवार कि मैं जाता हूँ जब भी मौका मिलता है, उसके माँ बाप के साथ थोड़ा सा समय बिताता हूँ।
This is a beautiful story, an example he's given of a youngster from the community who he's saying was involved with a lot of antisocial activities, and he's given some examples of the kind of things he was doing. He was definitely involved in crime, violence, in the form of usage of drugs, etc. And just getting connected to sport, because I had a chat with Nirmal earlier, because he talks about this as an indirect impact. He says, not that I focusedly kind of worked with him, but I drew him into sport. And I've started seeing the shift happen so soon, so fast. And it's about the steering towards more positive choices that is really powerful in this story. Because now that youth is a community youth leader, and not that his familial situation, which was fairly disturbed, not that that has changed fantastically, but it's just about the kind of choices this youngster is making now with respect to the education, his education, with respect to being engaged with, working, as well as contributing and giving back to the community and living a more positive life. So thank you all very much, Nirmal, Sonu और पूजा, आप हमारे साथ यहाँ पर आए। मुझे पता है आप बहुत सारा शेयर करना चाहते हैं हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में, पर थैंक यू। ये हमारी जो डिस्कशन है, जो हम आपसे मैंने जो शेयर किया था, क्राइम प्रिवेंशन के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, इससे हमको एक दिशा मिलेगी आप लोगों के एक्सपीरियंस से। थैंक यू। It's fairly moving. I think I've kind of given a snapshot of what they've shared with us. And thank you so much. Recent survey conducted in India shows that the rate of crime among youth has increased to 40%. And the National Crime Records Bureau has stated that the people in the 16 to 25 age group are responsible for 56% of the total crimes committed in India. I think it's also something which is a cause of concern across the world. We're talking about a 25% population of the world being youth, and it's going to grow. We've been hearing about millions, billions, the burgeoning youth dividend, etc. We do know that there are increasing number of juveniles involved in conflict with law. Crime and violence and the prevalence amongst youth has been cause of extreme concern across several geographies. And the typical characteristics of youth at risk is that they're predominantly male in the age range which defines youth. They come from families and communities dealing with unprecedented challenges. They may have little formal education and ascribe to cultures created by substance abuse and criminal activity. This characterization may be stereotypical. And when we start off the discussion, I would like to foreground that we have to be careful about these stereotypes. But what is needed is immediate action before a generation is lost. Our discussion today shall be focusing on sport and the power it has or it may afford for crime prevention. I would like to call, without much ado, my three esteemed panelists. I'd like to first call Ned Willis, Director Laureus Sport for Good Foundation. Ned needs no introduction for all of us who are contributing to Sport for Development. Ned Willis is the Global Director of the Laureus Sport for Good Foundation. He has over 15 years experience in sport, having developed a career in sports sponsorship before transitioning into the Sport for Development field. But what I'd really like to focus on is the work Laureus has been doing with and the organizations it has been supporting, which have been working in the area of crime prevention and using sport as a tool. And those are the learnings, the sharings that we're really looking forward to, and Ned's going to guide us through this entire process, of course. I'd also like to call on stage Mr. Amood Kant, General Secretary, Prayas Juvenile Aid Center Society. Thank you so much, Amoodji, for being on the panel. Amoodji is the General Secretary, Prayas Juvenile Aid Center Society. It's a voluntary organization for neglected and delinquent children operating in Delhi, Gujarat, Bihar, well, so many more states across the country. What's interesting is, prior to joining the social sector, his prior roles included DGP and chairperson for Delhi Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and he has also followed a long and illustrious career with the police. Amoodji, your contribution to the panel and for all our attendees here on understanding crime better and providing that perspective will really guide us through this discussion. Last but not the least, I'd like to call Henry Mayale Siata, Director, Mathare Youth Sports Association, also called MISA. And for all of us, again, in the Sport for Development field, MISA, again, needs no introduction. Henry Mayale was born and brought up in Nairobi, Kenya, joined MISA as a youth player and volunteer in 1990, where he played for Young Bestos in the MISA League, Dandra Zone. Henry is also, he grew organically in the organization, and he is now the director, MISA Academy, and also the former board member of the Street Football World. Henry, welcome to the panel. So I'd like to actually start the discussion. In fact, even before I start the discussion, I'd just like, because we have a small group here, I'd like you to just raise your hands, folks who are working in the Sport for Development sector. Sport for Development sector, who all are working in? Well, a lot. Who are absolutely new to Sport for Development? Absolutely new. Great. Great. So we have 3, 4. We have 4 hands here, absolutely new to Sport for Development. You couldn't have asked for something better with 3 very eclectic speakers here, and 2 of them absolutely rooted in Sport for Development. So I'll start with Henry, you. How does sport really contribute to positive youth development? There's so much of work over the years MISA has done. I'd just like to hear from you about how sport has been contributing to positive youth development in the communities you've been working in. And I know those communities have had a lot of challenges prior to your intervention.
Thank you very much, Manisha. She said, my name's Henry, and it's always hard to answer a question when it's already been answered by the three young men who are here, the three youths who are here. Basically, being a person who was born and brought up in the slums of Mathare, and having led my entire life as a young player in the Maisa youth system, and eventually being one of the senior employees in the organization, I think I have a lot to share. But based on this question, I'll only bring out the key points. The first point is an issue of discipline. When I joined Maisa at the age of 14 years, initially I thought being in a gang was the best way. That was the only solution for people to know you. But then when we joined Maisa, me and my colleagues and my friends in the team, one thing that came out was we had to play by the rules, okay? And we had to do everything by the setup, by the rules that were set by Maisa. And this helped us in terms of our discipline, and also in terms of focus in life, and even coming along in life, and being now a team player by virtue of playing by the rules. So there was an element of discipline and focus, and this has really led us to where we are today. And personally, this has led to my growth, not only as a player, but today as a sports administrator. So it has also created employment for me and for my fellow youth. And today we are talking of more than 40 young people employed in Maisa, holding different positions, different capacities. But not only in Maisa, we've also been able to produce some of the leading sports administrators in the country. Currently, as I'm speaking, the CEO of the Kenyan Premier League is a Maisa product. So that is two things. One is focus, and the other one is a creation of employment. The other thing that sports has also contributed to is the linkage between sports and other issues that affect the society. For example, health, education, environment. If you look at our league system, it's not an elite system, but it is a sports for dev. What we do is, besides playing football, we also organize community activities, and your team has to participate in these community service activities. And when you do this as a team, you also earn 6 points, besides the 3 points that you get when you play a match. So that alone creates a link between sports and the other community development issues. Besides this, we also have a rule. In Maisa, if you look at the league system, we have, or if you look at football internationally, there are 2 cards. There is the yellow card and there is the red card. But if you look at the Maisa system, beside these 2 cards, we also have the green card, which is shown as the best player at the end of the match. Best player in quotes. By this I mean you have to be a team player, you have to support your both teammates and opponents on the field of play. But then beside this also, you have to make sure that you play fairly and try to reduce chances of your opponents getting injured. So that also brings the sense of team spirit, and not only team spirit, but who you are. It brings out who you are, and it helps shape the life of the young people. Besides that, the other thing also is there are so many elements when you do team sport. And I've seen this manifest in myself. There is an element of fairness. There is an element of hard work. There is an element of responsibility. I joined the organization, as I told you, when I was 14 years. Within 2 years, I was elected as the captain of my team. From being elected, I came to sit in the sports council. I was elected as the chairman of my zone. That's an area, just like the young people who were seated here, what they were saying. I was elected to sit on the sports council and made decisions regarding sports, what we wanted to do as young people in our area. And then from there, I went to the executive council, and today I'm sitting as a senior member of the Maisa management team. So there has been a transformation on me personally and also on my friends. And to me, these are the positives that I've been able to learn from sports. Thank you very much.
It's so powerful, Henry, really powerful. So you spoke about discipline, really. You spoke about rules. And I think that's something that's been kind of been repeated since the morning in different forms by different people. And the sense of purpose that came into your life. You also spoke about, it's really beautiful, the concept of the green card, really powerful concept again. And there must be a lot of sort of peer mentoring that happens when you're in a league, because there you don't really, it's something like you're self-disciplining, but also your peers are around disciplining you, right? So it's kind of snowballing into more positive action, really. That's really powerful. And of course, the transformative process that you have gone through, and the opportunity for growth. I think that's really tremendous. Ned, if you can just share with us, that what is it about sport that makes it such a fantastic tool to work with young people? Because Henry did speak about that, not just sport for itself, but how beautifully it links up to working, in the health domain, education, environment, the way MISA has been doing. So what exactly is this magic that sport wields?
About 150 programs supported. We've been going for about 13, 14 years now. Have raised about 70 million euros for different programs worldwide. And not only is it about funding, but increasingly it's about access to knowledge, to training, to coaching, investments in research, and advocacy of that research through a platform of sporting ambassadors that we heard about earlier, and the importance of the role that they play in terms of advocating these stories and these messages to ever higher powers. So I think that one of the pieces of the answer to that question is definitely around that upper end of taking stories, of using sport as a vehicle. Everybody, even our prime ministers and presidents and global leaders, want to meet their sporting heroes. And we're lucky enough to be able to have a number who support us and support all the projects and programs that we support around the world, including Magic Bus, and to take the message, the research, the stories from the young people at the very grassroots end of sport to the very highest levels of international government, hopefully with the view to advocating sport's ever greater role in the development of societies and development of policy around that. What are the reasons that sport is so good? Well, there are many across the range of different programs that we support, and those programs are looking to cover or to address issues of physical health, of education, of employment, mental health, and of course the issues of youth crime. In 2009 we did a very simple piece of research that looked at and asked young people the question as to why sport and why they thought it was so powerful, particularly in relation to gangs, gun and gang violence, which is an increasingly prevalent problem, particularly in developed urban environments, but also, of course, is a growing problem, as Manish has just highlighted, from a developing urban environment as well. And a strangely simple conclusion was drawn by many young people. And in effect, the sports team is exactly the same as a gang. It delivers exactly the same outcomes to a young person, as far as a young person is concerned. It's just that the team has far more positive implications and connotations than a gang does. But if you think about it, and we had many a debate and discussion following this piece of research being publicized, a gang and a team both have the same things in common: a sense of hierarchy, a structure, rules, role models, an element of development through a system, and they're just effectively exactly the same thing. And as I say, it's the more in our minds, the more sports teams you could create, therefore probably the less gangs and gun violence you would have as a result. But a little bit about the research side, as I was mentioning earlier, and we've just seen many of us in the room all understand intrinsically and are involved in a day-to-day basis with the immense power of sport. We've seen it in action at the beginning of this particular session, but it's really important to be able to prove this point. We have invested in considerable amounts of research that both look at the social outcomes, but also the harder economic numbers. the reconviction rates were less than 50% of the national average. We were able to reduce reconviction rates after those kids came out of those institutions by over 50%. Quite an impactful statistic to be able to take to the Ministry of Justice in whatever country, to say that you can reduce reconviction rates of young people coming out of youth institutions by 50%. It does, however, highlight one of the other points that was raised earlier, and that's the need for pathways. You can't just put a kid, whether it's in a youth institution or outside it, both from a preventative perspective or an actual tackling the problem directly with convicted youth. You can't just put them through a sports program and then they come out new people ready to new and positive contributors to society, ready to give back. It's really important, we have found, to ensure that, I think as Matthew was saying in the plenary session earlier, that we are working with other organisations and institutions to ensure that those kids continue on a pathway. And again, I think that continued involvement in sport creates the backbone to that pathway. So what is it about sport? Well, I don't think, and I don't think anybody should here, nor necessarily does, think that sport is the panacea, the answer to all the social ills, particularly crime issues across youth. But I think it's more of an effect, the sport effect. It's as we know, the inherent qualities of sport to bring together and encourage a whole range of positive attributes in the young people, and in fact all people who participate. The sport effect in action is one of ensuring that these pathways exist into formal education, that the sport activities themselves are being used as an instruction to positive educational outcomes. We're defining leadership through these particular programs, giving people the opportunity to develop themselves as leaders within a controlled framework of a sport activity. Last year, I read an article in the Times of India, human resources section, came across by Pratik, as many of you will know, the CEO of Magic Bus here. He didn't actually refer to sport once, which I thought was really interesting. He referred to Magic Bus as an employability enhancement program. And I think that's, again, one of the positive aspects of sport, and something that we all as organisations involved may take away. That I go into funders many times and they say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, we don't do sport. We do education and we do health, and we do employability." And I think that's one of the things as well about sport, that it encompasses, the sport effect encompasses all those different aspects. So that employability pathway is another aspect of sport that I think is created. And of course the issues of the development of respect for your fellow player, respect for the rules, respect for the umpire or the referee, are all the life skills that effectively are demonstrated in so many sports activities that we're involved in. Just a couple of real outcomes, again, from another piece of research that we did with a program called Laureus Urban Stars, which is based in London but has also been taken international as a training program, that looked at a number of different indicators of outcomes from sports programs, and in this particular case Urban Stars, and it just looked across a whole load of indicators. I'll read you a couple, but my ability to work as part of a team, my leadership skills, my confidence and self-esteem, my willingness to invest in my future, my ability to make decisions about my life, to be more empathetic, my willingness to help others, my attitude towards others. All of these measures, when young kids involved in these programs were asked, were frankly off the scale as far as in comparison to those who talked about those attributes either staying the same or indeed having decreased as part of their lives. And this is the sort of research that we really, I think, need to demonstrate what it is about sport that has such an impact. So I'll just finalise by highlighting what what we've learned from the many programs around the world, and I'm sure you may well know of some of those, if not all of them. The likes of Fight for Peace in Rio and in London, the likes of the Midnight Basketball concept that we support around the world, to name just a couple. But I think the key learnings out of our experiences, and just to sum up the question that was raised was, firstly, for me, Sport for Good's return on investment can be and should be quantified successfully. And the Sport for Good is not, or sport is not the panacea, but it works when you've got an innovative mix of sport with additional inputs, including social work, therapy, mentoring, education, employment pathways. When we've got highly trained staff, carefully targeted participants, quality sports, crystal clear methodologies that target specific issue areas, youth leadership, and baked into the program DNA. All these programs, the most successful ones are those, and MISA is a great example, as is of course Magic Bus, where youth are very much at the centre of the development of those particular programs, which includes then local community ownership, and finally clear learning feedback and systems in place. So I hope that might broadly answer the very broad question that you asked, Monisha.
Yeah, that was planned, Ned, and you've put it across so very beautifully. So I think this is extremely interesting. The report that Ned refers to is Sports Scores. The report is there available on the Laureus website, 2011 report, and it's extremely emphatic the way this comes out, that 7 times using sport for crime prevention is 7 times more effective, cost-effective than other strategies. And also the 50% reduction in reconviction. I think these are very, very powerful thoughts, albeit from a European perspective, but they're powerful thoughts to stay with. I'll move on to Amod. Amod, could you just shed light from your experiences on the risk factors which make youth make choices which may not be so pro-social? So what are the risk factors for youth getting into antisocial activities really?
Oh, I must thank you. Thanks to all of you for putting me across in a situation like this where I think I'm learning something. And thank you very much for the information you gave. And Henry, your transformation story is very interesting, and those kids, 3 of you, I think it's very inspiring. I'm so happy that one of my former colleagues, Jeevan Jyoti Mohanty, sitting here, she is now working with them, and it's something new, Mohanty, it's something new, something different. And let me come to the point straight, because Edward has spoken in great detail about what sports can do. Well, he said very correctly that sports can't be a panacea for all the ills. It's impossible. It can't be, because perhaps, you don't have the opportunity to get their sports into life, into that kind of situation which the life unfolds naturally. Any person coming into criminality, any child coming into juvenile situation, the life is so different. And I mean, there's so many things. Manisha, you wanted to know what kind of situations could be there and how people get into it and things like that. Just now, today itself, it's a pure coincidence that I'm coming from a discussion where one of the juvenile homes that we run, my organization Prayas, which I started 25 years back, has 22 homes we run. We are running about 200 centers across the country, 9 states, and 22 homes include a juvenile home also. Most of the juveniles who commit crime in Delhi, who get into offenses, very serious offenses like murders and rape and robbery and things like that, they land up in the institution which my organization runs. And today there are 76 of them there. And these 76, by pure coincidence, I was telling Jeevan Jyoti also, there is a group of sportsmen today right now, who are playing with them, just now. While I am sitting here, they are playing there. 76 juveniles who come from very, very difficult situations. And there is a group of Tatas, India's leading corporate Tatas. They have created a small team of athletes and sports people And they decided to work with the organization, my organization, and today they have started a program with them. Now, so how the kids took it, those juveniles took it, is something, which I, on the way while I was coming in my car, I tried to understand that how exactly they have taken. They are extremely enthusiastic. And they, as it is, appear to be transformed. They appear to be transformed. I am sure they can't be transformed so easily. But that is what is happening to them right now. And maybe in days to come, months to come, while this program goes on further, they're into football and they love to play football. The home that I am talking about doesn't have a big space, but they want to play football in that particular place. And in fact, I asked this question, thus, how will you do it? They have a ground, all right, but the ground is not suitable for football. They need a much bigger ground. So broadly speaking, the criminality or the juvenile situation that I am talking about and its relationship with the physical activity, relations with situations where sports, they are inculcated, it can bring about magical change. And decidedly, there is no doubt about it. I have absolutely no doubt that it can bring about a lot of changes. Let me slightly correct you, Manisha, on the point of juvenile crimes in India. You might have heard, some of you, that this issue has suddenly become a burning issue in India. I wonder if the guys coming from abroad have been told about it. Those who are in this country, they know. जानते हो आप लोग ना आजकल जुवेनाइल क्राइम का बहुत हल्ला मचा हुआ है आप समझ रहे हो कितना झगड़ा है बहुत ज़्यादा आफ्टर दैट गैंग रेप there was a very, very sensational gang rape in this city on 16th of December last year. And that led to many changes in law. A lot of laws relating to women has changed completely. And there's a big assault on a very, very good piece of law, Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act 2000, which is the basic law for children in this country, which covers those children who have committed crime and those children who haven't committed crime. They happen to be children in need of care and protection. So there is an assault on this law that the law must change. Because according to people, according to those people who want the change in law, they feel that this law has become too liberal. And because of this law being too friendly with the children, too liberal with the juveniles, and too accommodative with them, and entirely reformist oriented, is not serving the purpose. They want a very harsh law. I mean, a lot of people, public demand is that the law should become very harsh, and they should change the law. I mean, that is what is there. I, for one, I had to contest this matter in the Supreme Court of India, with the highest court called Supreme Court of India. I appeared and argued this case in the Supreme Court of India. And we won the case because they wanted the age of juvenile to be brought down from 18 years to 16 years. In India, it's 18 years. I mean, up to 18 years of age, they are called children. The definition of child, as per United Nations Convention Rights of Child, is 18 years. And India being kind of signatory and a very strong supporter of UNCRC, we decided to have it 18 years. So it's for 18 years for us. Now, regarding the crimes, let me clarify that it is true that during the past couple of years, the juvenile crimes have slightly increased in this country. But even now, the total percentage of juvenile crimes amongst the total number of crimes is just about 1.5%. The children constitute 42% of population in India. The youth above 14 years and in the age of youth, they are about 25%. But the crime they commit, their share of crime in this country is very low still. It's just about 1.5%. It varies between 1% to 2%. Presently, it's hardly 1.5%. As against that, in many other advanced countries, even USA, for instance, USA is India's 1/4. India's population is 1.25 billion, and USA is nearly 250, 230 million. And the number of crimes in USA is about 10 times more. In fact, more than 10 times, really 20 times more than this country. So basically, it's still, because of a variety of reasons, this country has shown ways of kind of socio-economic, cultural factors are there. Variety of reasons, the juvenile crime is still not such a huge problem. But we are getting it. But we are feeling it now, that yes, the crimes are increasing. And the youth is becoming very restive. It's becoming extremely difficult. So I would have loved that our juveniles also should be as responsible as those 3 kids sitting here who gave their story and talked about the sense of responsibility and things like that, because that is needed. And reasons, if you look at the reasons behind it, see, sports as an activity or physical activity as something which is necessary for growing a process. I mean, it's part of a developmental process. Sometime back, I was the chairman of Child Rights Commission in Delhi. I worked in police, as they told you, for about 34 years. and I was the chief of police in a couple of states, and this city also I was joint police commissioner. But then I also became the chairman of Child Rights Commission. One of the very important things which I did in those times was to open up all the parks of Delhi for children, because Delhi has many parks. Most of them, one of the boys, Sonu, spoke about a particular park, is that correct? That you clean that park. I mean, there are, when there's no thousands, could be about 50,000, 40,000 small and big parks in Delhi. Most of them have been encroached upon by the elders. Majority of them have been taken over by the ruffians. They have made it dumping ground. Some people are using it for various functions. Some elderly people will occupy it, make it their property. So all those things are happening. So the parks have become a place where majority of parks have been forcibly occupied by non-children. They have been occupied by non-youth. The young children, the youth have no opportunity to go into parks and play and use that park for sports purposes, for playing purposes. And there are a huge number of cases. In fact, there was a particular case which I had to deal with legally, in which, there was a complete residents' welfare association who were vehemently against a group of children. And they would not let them play in the park. You must have heard about this case. It came in the newspapers. And because they'll play cricket, and from cricket the ball will go and hit the glasses next door. Maybe something is damaged, and for that damage, they will. So the entire community of that area ganged up. They became one to oppose those small kids, about 10 of them. And then those kids kept on coming to me. They came to me at least 10 times, and they wanted me to intervene. I did intervene. I did intervene in that particular case. And not only intervened, we decided ultimately to reserve a space in all parks of Delhi. So today, all parks of Delhi have a space for children. Though it is not given, physically it is not given because they have not really claimed it that much. But legally speaking, we have got this order clear that every park must be, at least part of it should be utilized by the children. It is their right to play. So right to play is something, which we have been kind of trying to emphasize on, trying to enforce the right to play. It is one of those rights, United Nations Convention also, it has one of the rights is there. And I think that when we talk about sports, when we talk about physical activity, ultimately it emanates from the right to play. Every child has a right to play. I mean, play is not only a kind of organized activity. Play is not only something, which you have to do in a particular manner. Play is inherent with the instinctive growth of a person. A game is something which happens. It is not to be created. But when it doesn't happen, when a game doesn't happen, a play doesn't happen, physical activity doesn't take place, in that kind of situation you have to organize it. And as you said very correctly and very beautifully, in fact, about the gangs, is that correct? You said something about gangs?
Yeah.
That, can you repeat it?
Which bit?
No, you told that there's a similarity. Very correct. Gangs and teams. That was very, very beautifully placed, that gangs and teams, the gangs of criminals or the gangs of delinquents and the team of sports people could be quite similar. I mean, the only difference is that it's a spirit that defines it, the intention that defines it, the method that defines it, the goals they pursue defines it, and ultimately such a huge difference. Here something which is happening as a group or as a team which is giving a divine result, something which is so positive, so constructive. Here something the same group of people can get into criminality and delinquency and do something which is totally abhorrent, something which is absolutely wrong. So this is something very interesting, that how do we ultimately motivate the youngsters, how do we organize them, how do we galvanize their strength, energies into very positive thinking and positive kind of activity. I think that this subject is very relevant for this country. I mean, very appropriately, you have organized this big conference, and very, very appropriately, you have really brought into it the physical activity, the sports, and how does it relate to the criminality. I mean, I do not want to discuss the delinquency as a phenomena in this country. I don't want to talk about the causes also in a big way. Only thing that what I have found that in majority of cases in this country, the delinquency or the crime, it really shoots off from situations of want. The poverty and deprivation in this country is somewhere which is sitting at the base of it. The cultural factors still are very powerful to contain it. The society as a whole doesn't want the crimes to take place, but they do take place for the reason that there are situations like that. So basically, we have the problem, and to develop the spirit of the sports and physical activity, the groups, the kind of group Magic Bus has organized, I must compliment it. that it can really help in a big way. If the youngsters decide to organize these kind of activities, then probably things may grow. I, for one, let me tell you, I was never a sports person like you. I never played actually any games as such, but I did something what one of those boys did. Actually, entire younger days, I used to be organizing places where I would organize a group. I'll try to acquire a park for them to play. I'll try and put them all together. That was the kind of job I did, which I did earlier and later also now. So, but then I at least get the feel of it, that it is so necessary that we really organize these activities. They are very, very important. And friends, I'm so thankful to you that you gave me an opportunity. And Prayas as an organization, as I said, we need it very badly. At any point of time, Prayas has not less than 30,000 beneficiaries. Let me clarify. We have 30,000 youth who come to the organization every day in 9 states of India. We employ about 1,000 people in the organization. And you can imagine that how much we need it. And majority of them, I mean 99% of them, come from extremely poor background. They come from extremely difficult circumstances. They are the children whom we prefer to call the children in need of care and protection, or they happen to be juveniles in conflict with law. These are two categories of children who come to the organization, and we need it badly. I wish that we are in a position to create more space for physical activity. We are in a position to introduce sports and games and things like that, more of it in the organization. We haven't done so far. Let's do it now. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think what you brought out and reiterating what Ned has shared with us, the whole similarity of, between gangs and teams, I think that's a thought, a very powerful thought to continue ruminating on. I think also what's come out very strongly is the social exclusion and inclusion. So we're talking about the want to be part, to belong. Yeah? The need for youth to be belonging somewhere. Now that belongingness could be in a space that provides positivity, or it could be a space which is going to be debilitating. So the idea is about providing more positive choices to the youth. Sport is one essential, fantastic engagement tool, as well as it can be used to directly address a lot of issues. I think also what, Amood, what you brought out, that the actual root is the poverty, the deprivation. This is again a thought we need to stay with. So I would say social exclusion, poverty, deprivation, and there are a whole lot of things that could be a reason for crime being committed or continually being repeated. Henry, I would just want you to share with us, one is of course your story of your transformation, but any other story from MISA that stays with you, which you would like to share with us, and also probably the story of one of the girls in your program. That would be very interesting for all of us.
Thank you very much once again, Manisha. For the two questions, let me start with a story of inspiration from MISA. I've talked about myself, but I think I share almost a similar story with my colleagues. But then maybe I'll just share one story. And this is about how the young people themselves organize themselves and, sit together, plan for the activities. But then if you look at the conditions where they come from, then there's a big difference.
Would we like to play the film, the MISA film, for everybody to have a context?
Okay, then let's play the film first and then I'll share the story.
We'll just play the film which will tell you about the context and some of Henry's friends from MISA who we'll get connected to.
Daddy saw there was something special about me. He knew I had a talent inside me. Mama died when I was still small. Daddy always kept me strong. Music is gone.
I'm Samuel Mosembi. I come from Mathare. I'm now 22 years old and I'm a student at the University of Nairobi. I still come from the slum. Like when you talk about a slum, like what comes to your mind is like the houses are not well lit, there's no electricity. So in the houses there's darkness. And also like the houses are of iron sheet structured. And actually talking about like these a big percentage, almost 60% of the people coming from Mathare slum are the youths.
I want to know.